Romare Bearden, the artist as painter. When most think of the artist Romare Bearden, most, if not all, think of this work. This is the work for which the artist is known worldwide for, as one of the greatest collagists in the history of Western art. However, Romare Bearden produced a body of work during his pre-collage oeuvre, some of which you will see here, that is noteworthy and will be the subject of this presentation. I would like to introduce the work he produced before he transitioned into collage exclusively. This presentation will be about Romare Bearden, the painter, instead of Romare Bearden, the collagist. Romare Bearden was born in Charlotte, North Carolina in 1911. His family first moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, before settling permanently in Harlem, New York. Bearden's parents were prominent in the neighborhood and very much a part of the Harlem Renaissance intelligentsia, often holding meetings and discussions in their home with the artists, scholars, and business people of the movement. It was in this environment that Romare Bearden grew up. He was very aware of the social challenges of the day towards African Americans. Bearden attended Lincoln University, a black university located in Oxford, Pennsylvania, before moving on to Boston University and finally New York University, graduating with a bachelor's degree. He began his art training in 1935 in the Art Student League under the tutelage of George Grosz, a member of the German Dada group. Bearden began his art career as a political cartoonist. He worked on his college journal and newspaper publications, and after graduation in 1934, Bearden secured work for the NAACP publication, The Crisis, as their political cartoonist. The 30s, as we all know, was the time during the Great Depression, a period in U.S. history that was hard on everyone, but especially hard on the African American population, who were being excluded on many social issues. Bearden points this out in the two examples shown here: No Help Wanted and The Picket Line, both completed and published in 1934. In 1935, we have our first example of Bearden's painting style in a painting he titled The Soup Kitchen. During the hardships of the 1930s, artists used realism to portray the working class and the poor. Here, Bearden's painting is reminiscent of Vincent van Gogh's The Potato Eaters, with Bearden's use of dark earth tone colors and loose painterly brushstrokes. The 1940s saw Bearden's transition in style and technique move from the painterly application seen in The Soup Kitchen towards more simplified imagery, as seen in one of Bearden's more recognized paintings of the period, titled Factory Workers, completed in 1942. For this work, Bearden received a commission from Fortune magazine to provide the illustration for the article titled The Negro's War. The article discusses the plight of the African American in the defense industry as it pertained to discrimination in hiring for the war effort, it being World War II. The article came out 7 months after Pearl Harbor. Other paintings during the period that reflect Bearden's new style of painting are The Cotton Workers and folk musicians, both completed before Factory Workers in 1941. In these three paintings, we see that the artist's images become more distinctly defined by his use of line, presenting a crisper, cleaner image. Bearden's painting, titled Sacrifice, also completed in 1941, bears noting in that Bearden, with this work, continues to move yet further away from realist representation of subject matter imagery. In viewing this painting, one could argue that Picasso's Guernica, completed 4 years earlier in 1937, could have been the source of inspiration for the work. The post-war years saw Bearden honorably discharged from military service. He came out of the war with a different view of humanity, and thus his painting style, as well as the theme of his paintings, evolved yet again, his work showing Cubist influence. During this period, Bearden produced two major series, one based on events in the life of Jesus Christ he titled the Passion of Christ series, and the second series is based on the Greek poem The Iliad. Beginning with the Passion series in 1945 and the painting Madonna in Child, Bearden shifts his style to include Cubist elements, using geometric contour line to fragment the figures. In the following slides, we see in Bearden's watercolors a limited color palette when compared to his oil paintings of the same year. The watercolors also show his freer use of line. In other works completed during the years between 1947 and 48, this looser line can be seen in the following sketch and slides. In the painting, The Seated Female, I see Vermeer and Matisse influences. What do you see? The 1950s and 1960s again saw Bearden's exploration of non-representational art reach its apex, as these paintings between 1955 and 1964 show. The artist experimented with different styles of abstraction. The 50s and the 60s were also the periods of civil rights movement, and Bearden, along with other African American artists based in New York, formed the group Spiral, a think tank for the artists to discuss how they can contribute to the civil rights movement. It was during this period when Bearden made the switch to become collagist full-time. The artists all agreed to convene at their usual meeting place to contribute their artistry to a single work of art. No one showed up except Bearden, and as he began working on his contribution, cutting out images from magazines, journals, and other publications, he had the epiphany that he finally found the medium where he could express his ideas completely, and the rest is history. Romare Bearden's body of work spans over 50 years, an artist almost exclusively known for his collage compositions. His pre-collage work often is overlooked, but like other great artists of the 20th century, Picasso, Braque, Matisse, among others, Bearden, like them, continually searched and explored different aspects of art movements, incorporating elements of them into his work of the period, And upon discovering the genre he felt could fully express his ideas, memories, and beliefs, produced a body of work in collage unparalleled in fine art. Romare Bearden, one of the most important modern artists, as well as African American artists of the 20th century.